Are these Jeffrey Epstein emails bad news for Trump or another baseless smear campaign concocted by the mainstream media and the Democrats? We're talking with Daphne Barak, the world-renowned journalist who has conducted the only interviews with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. She also exposed Prince Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson by revealing they'd sent emails to Epstein long after they'd claimed to have cut ties. Well, Daphne, welcome to NEXTRA. Let me start with this. If you look at these new Epstein emails released by Congress, the mainstream media suggests they're really bad news for Trump. I've looked through many of them. I don't really see that myself. What's your take on them?
I tend to agree with you, Matthew. President Trump has been a friend of mine since I was 20. I think Fox News just unearthed a first interview with him that he's taking me at the escalator in the Trump Tower, like he did years later with Melania. So for transparency, I am a friend of the president, but as somebody who has unearthed the explosive emails of the former Prince Andrew and the former Duchess of York that lost their titles after what I did, and rightly so, I don't see the negativity for Trump. I spoke with one of his children. I don't see that. By the way, I saw Trump this weekend a couple of times, and he was in a great mood. He wasn't at all worried. So it's very known that Donald Trump was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. There's no confusion about it. But it's also known that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein for all the right reasons from his club, at least a year, I think even more, 2 years before Epstein was indicted.
Exactly right. Yeah, Trump has long said that he got rid of Epstein out of his life around about 2004. The conviction was 2006. So that's a big difference between someone like Trump and other people, very famous people, as you said, the former Duchess of York, the former Duke of York. They were all friends with him. Larry Summers was seen with him. Bill Gates was seen with him well after the conviction. Okay, so let me have a look at one of these emails, which everyone keeps telling me that proves that Trump has done something wrong. Okay, supposedly the most damning email is Epstein to Maxwell, 2011. I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. Notice the Democrats wanted that name redacted, but it has since been unredacted, and we know it's Virginia Giuffre, and we know that Virginia Giuffre, under oath, has said that she didn't believe that Trump knew anything about the abuse of the girls, and she has said in her memoir as well that he was not among the men who abused her. So, given that, this particular email would seem to be, cannot hurt the president.
So first of all, Virginia Giuffre, as you know, Matthew, trusted me, despite the fact that I'm a friend of the royal family, and despite the fact that, yes, I did conducted the only interviews with Ghislaine Maxwell in jail, and they were, of course, enemies. She did trust me. She met with me. She famously sent me texts. I did publish some of them when she died, and I did a beautiful tribute about her. And Virginia spoke very nicely about Trump. So I don't think... in a text I published, she wanted my friend Robert Kennedy to be president, but otherwise she was very positive about Trump. So I don't think there's anything else. And then don't forget another thing, Matthew. Jeffrey Epstein was a vindictive man. I have never met him, thanks God, but I know from my circle that he was a vindictive man. And Trump kicked him out of his MAR-A-LAGO club, which Palm Beach, which Bill and I, my husband and I, are going very often. We just saw the president there. It's a very small community, and if you're kicked out, it's a really bad social note there. So, of course, suddenly Donald Trump becomes the president, the most powerful guy in the world, and Jeffrey, of course, is banned from any access for him. So, of course, he would send very, very bitter emails.
But Daphne, let me interrupt you for 1 second. On that point, there will be people watching this and saying, well, you're a friend of Trump. You would say that, wouldn't you? I just want you to know, you've probably seen it, but Epstein claims in an email that he never belonged to Mar-A-Lago, so Trump could never have had the opportunity to throw him out. Is it true that he was thrown out of Mar-A-Lago?
I understand, not only from the president, but from other people, that he was kicked out. Maybe at the beginning of Mar-A-Lago, don't forget, people did not pay. Right now, I think it's 1.5 million per membership. But at the beginning, as every club, Donald Trump is a very smart man, and he gave some membership for free and some membership for really symbolic prices, and maybe that was That was the idea about Epstein. I'm not aware about that. I do know that that Epstein mentioned another name in emails, and they just throwing names like, oh, so and so was here. Now, it's he said, she said. Do we know that everything that Epstein said is true? I'm not so sure. I mean, as a journalist, and you're a journalist yourself, you and I like to corroborate, at least with another source, right?
Right. So once upon a time, nobody would have taken the word of a convicted sex offender. Now everyone is inclined, especially on the left or in the mainstream media, to believe what one sex offender says to another, meaning Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Here's an Epstein.
And on that note,
of course, yeah.
just want to insert something and give you a scoop. On that note, for example, everybody says that Ghislaine Maxwell changed her story, her narrative, because she wants a pardoning from Donald Trump, right? Now, of course, she wants a pardoning. Everybody does, right? But I can tell you, and that's a big scoop I'm giving you, that in the 4 interviews I conducted with her in jail, we, as every interview, we published only a small portion of it because, you know, there were very long interviews. And we're talking 2022, right? There were 4 interviews. And at that time, President Joe Biden was the only one who could give her pardonship. And I can tell you already exclusively that in the parts we have not published, not because we didn't want to, or just there was no need as any interview, Ghislaine Maxwell is talking about Donald Trump in the same positive notes that she talked to Todd Blanche only a few months ago, and people think that she was rewarded right afterwards. So she did not change the story. And at that point, if she wanted a pardoning from Biden, she should have said something bad about Donald Trump. And I'm the only one who has the tapes, so I can tell you.
That is a really good point, because again, people coming to me saying, well, she spoke to the Assistant Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and she said that that Trump had always been a gentleman and wasn't involved. And they said, well, she only said that because she wants to keep on his good side and eventually get a pardon or to be moved to a better, easier prison, which she was, by the way. But you're absolutely right. She had those years in prison when Biden was president, and she could have cut a deal to put Trump in the frame, but she didn't. In fact, she was, with you, consistent that Trump was not some kind of monster. Let me ask you about that, though. After meeting Todd Blanche, the Assistant Attorney General, 1 week later, she's moved to a cushier prison. Any connection?
Matthew, I've been in this prison. And now, again, don't fall from your chair. It's not that I'm waking up every morning, brushing my teeth and going to visit prisons. I'm not Kim Kardashian. Love you, Kim, but I'm not. It's just that we're working on a TV interview with another famous inmate, which is in this prison, Liz Holmes. And my husband and I went with her husband and one of her 2 charming kids to visit her. So it is a prison. It's true that it's a bit easier than where she was, but it is a prison. So let's not forget that. And secondly, and again, Ghislaine Maxwell did terrible things. She's paying for it. Should she serve 20 years? I don't know. But in the first 2.5 years, I first interviewed her in MDC. It's nightmare. I mean, I got sick immediately. I got COVID immediately after I left. And in that place, she was held in a suicidal watch, which is terrible, in solitary confinement. I mean, I asked her the first thing, what gives you the strength? Regardless what she did, I don't know if I would have the strength. So I'm not saying she didn't say bad, terrible things, definitely. And I wanted her to show more remorse, which I was disappointed. So I understand she couldn't show remorse because she was appealing.
Yes.
So legally she couldn't show remorse. But I'm telling you right now, she did serve in the most horrible places. And this is, yes, it's easier. I don't dispute that.
Okay, but the question, she was moved to the easier prison, though not, easy. It's a much less security prison. Within about, I suppose, a week of talking to the Assistant Attorney General, was she given some sort of a favor?
This I don't know. I've not talked to Pam Bondi or to Todd about it. What I do feel that since I know she didn't change her narrative, so if there was a quid pro quo, what did she give? She didn't give anything that I know she didn't say before. And my interviews, the portions we released on it, was everywhere, from America to Australia to Germany to UK.
That's a
It
fair.
made
No, that's a fair
headlines
point.
everywhere. So
That's a fair point,
I mean, I
Daphne.
really don't.
I'm conscious that we don't have very long with you. I need to move on to another email that you don't see in the mainstream media all that often, and it's an Epstein email to himself. It was a sort of an aid memoir, if you like, and he wrote, "Trump knew of it, don't know what he means by of it, and came to my house many times during that period." Again, what period? I mean, he's writing this in 2019, so a few months before he was arrested, and a little longer period before he died in prison. And crucially, he wrote to himself, he never got a massage. Do you think that's significant?
Well, if he never got a massage, so there was nothing wrong, right? And to be in his house, I mean, everybody was in his house. I hate to remind you, Matthew, that even after Epstein was released from jail, he threw a party for Prince Andrew at his home in New York. And as you recall, there were all kind of celebrities like Woody Allen and Katie Couric, and I think even George Stephanopoulos, who attended it because it was for Prince Andrew. So everybody was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein until he was indicted. I don't see, if there is a proof that Trump continued his relationship with him after he was indicted, that's a different story. But so far, we haven't seen such a proof.
Right. Speaking of Epstein's other friends, Trump has now instructed the Justice Department and the FBI to investigate Bill Clinton's links with Epstein. How deep is that relationship?
Ghislaine Maxwell spoke very, very nicely about Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew, right? But Trump, she spoke differently because she said basically that what she said afterward, that he was not part of it. She remained very, very close to Clinton even after she separated from Epstein. So, I mean, again, I don't know what they will find out. There's no argument that Clinton was close to Epstein. Clinton said that he cut any contacts at a certain point, like many others. If they prove that he did not, and by the way, for fairness again, I was a Democrat. I hosted Hillary Clinton at my home in New York for a fundraiser. It was the birthday of my other half, Bill Ganassi. So I have nothing against Clinton. On the contrary, I change my political views as many when we get older. But I have nothing against him. But if the investigation will prove that Clinton did remain friends with Epstein after he was charged and went to jail, like Prince Andrew, it wouldn't be good.
Daphne Barak, we've run out of time. It's been fascinating. I have many other questions to ask you, hopefully another time soon. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, Matthew.
Thank you.